Hello and welcome to Getting TOON today. I am Michael Grassia. Sorry, I'm just still setting up real quick. And we're going to continue with how to create comics. So let's hit the intro and begin. Hello and welcome back. As I said, today we're going to do... Oh, sorry, I have the wrong thing on. Today we're doing Getting TOON. There we go. And so we're going to talk today about drawing comic strips. Last time we talked about characters and how to build characters. Today I thought I'd talk to you about creating characters and how to come up with story ideas. So there's a couple of ways. And let me go back to my screen here. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. I want to be a little smaller today. And I want to talk about designing characters real quick. Now, sometimes when people draw, right, and they can have an illustration that can help you come up with an idea. Other times, you can have an idea and you have to draw characters to help you come up with the ideas. To help tell the story. So I like humor. I showed you guys comic books or comic strip collections last week. I showed you books, which I'm not going to get because I put them away again. And anyway, but they were all humor strips. So we saw things like Beetle Bailey and High and Lois and Hagar the Horrible and The Wizard of It and all these things that were just very simple drawings, basic stuff. So, for example, if you wanted to draw, I don't know, let's make this, it's an animal, right? Let's make it a dog because dogs are very popular. Now, when creating a strip, one of the things you want to be aware of is look at ideas that are not being used right now. There are animal strips out there. So how do you make this animal strip stand out from what's already out there, So maybe this dog, what could this dog do that other dogs aren't doing in comics? And that's what you want to think about. Now, do you want to treat him anthropomorph? Now, we looked at that word a couple of videos ago. Anthropomorph signs is giving human qualities to animals or inanimate objects. Or do you want him to be down here? And he actually, has the body and that looks like a real, and he acts like a real dog. So it comes down to matters of choice. So you can sit and think about ideas. I want to show you a book. I'm going to go grab it. So give me 1 second. I didn't think of it until just now, but it's a fantastic book that will give you a good idea on drawing like comic strips. Hold on 1 second. It's right behind me. Whoa. Now, I believe you can still find this on YouTube or eBay. One of my favorite, when I was a kid, there was a guy still, Bruce Blitz. He still exists. He's still around. Actually, if you look at, where's that? That picture that I'm currently pointing to, that's a caricature of me. I know you can't see it, but it's actually done by Bruce Blitz. Now, this was a book, The Big Book of Cartooning. When I was a kid, he had instructional videos, much like I'm doing on YouTube right now, but on videotape, a TV series. And he had these books. And this book is fantastic. It's very simplistic, how to draw ideas. But as you get towards the back, it's how to make comic strips. And it's a great, and I think I've passed it, but that's cartoon portraits. Sorry, I'm just looking for this section here. Yeah, so here he talks about making comic strips and the process. All right. This was a fantastic book. I love it a lot. And this is what taught me. Not actually, I had his videotape. My parents gave me as a Christmas gift. It's fantastic. And this just made me think of another book that's right on the other side of me. Hold on one second. Hey, look at me. Oh. Okay, here's the other one. It's made by a man named Chris Hart, who's a really awesome dude too. Drawing on the funny side of the brain. I don't know if it's still in print, but I know you can find it on things like Etsy and eBay. You might be able to find that on Amazon. But he goes through how to write funny in here, how to lay out panels and discuss where balloons should go and how balloons should be made. I mean, between these two books, you have everything you kind of want to start out on drawing funny comics. And I love these two books. All right. So you got to think about a twist, an idea. Where did I put my pen? Sorry, one second. There it is. So you want to think of ideas. Now, I thought of an idea today. It's based on a drawing I did, just a pencil sketch I did of an alien on a spaceship, and he's looking kind of angry or confused or, a little sarcastic. And I'm going to set him up. Let me bring up the screen. And I'm going to set him up right here. And I've already inked it. I've already colored it. I don't know why I see that white bar. I don't know if you guys see a white bar down there, but let's zoom out, zoom in. Oh, it's still there. Okay. Well, that part of the picture doesn't mean anything anyway. It's just my signature. So if we look here, I got my alien. He's very large in the screen. He's in the center. Doesn't have to be in the center. It could be a little off. I have an alien space console to his UFO right here. I have these bars that make it look like it's a, like there's panels to the windows and you see outer space in the background. I could have got more detailed. I could have added a texture to make it look like there's glass on it so that it's still even more faded. But you'll notice with the alien, something I did that I didn't do the other stuff is I added shadow to him. Adding the shadow helps him pop from the background. If you wanted to add a little shadow to the background, that would have been okay. I just chose not to. All right. So now I have this word balloon. And in this word balloon, I like to write something funny. Now, he's kind of looking off to the side. He looks a little like he's going to say something kind of sarcastic or maybe he's just kind of tired of something. So I was doing some thinking before I went live today, and I wrote a few things down. But I think my favorite idea that I wrote down was when you're a kid and you take long car rides with your parents, like going on vacation or something, and the kids in the back of the seat have to go to the bathroom, but there's no rest stop soon or whatever, and the parents will say something like, I told you to go before we left the house, or something, you're going to have to hold it till we get to the next rest stop. So I thought playing with that, like he's talking to someone and he's just tired because he already told him to do something, or her, right? So I'm going to get my text tool out, and I can write this by hand, but I like the idea of the text. So I'm going to write, and I'm going to try to keep it centered. Let me choose the font I like, which is, there it is, digital strip. And let's bring it up to about 14. Maybe we'll go up higher. I don't know. So let's think. What could he be saying about that? What about if I said something like, maybe we'll try a couple of things. We are, let's say 5, and I'm going to put a space, light years, which I got to look up. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 words. Let me do that real quick. I'm sorry. Whoops. Give me 1 second. Nope, comes up as 2 words. The beauty of the internet, right? From the next rest stop. Whoops. And I'll fix all this. I know it's going off. I'm going to do gonna have to hold it. So I'm going to select all, and now I'm just going to play with my spacing at the moment. I might need to make the letters bigger or smaller. Oh, looks like they all fit. And one of the things you'll notice that I did was I centered them, because this looks nice when text is centered. The other thing that I did, the balloon is kind of large. You don't want the balloon to be too tight. You want to give what we call breathing room to your text. So in a simple single panel joke, I was able to convey a story. Now I could have put other aliens in here. So you don't always need just multiple panels to tell your story. All right. Now, what if we changed it to, let's try something else. What if we did just something simple? Whoops. I told you to use the bathroom before we left. Okay, now I may want to play with some centering of the words, and I think I may want to use bathroom on here. Okay. This is a little too much space in the balloon, but it's a default balloon I made to fit different sizes. I would actually tone that balloon down, and I'll do it on another layer just to show you. I'd probably cut it like around here and maybe bring it in a little bit more. Okay. So you see there's still breathing room to it. So this is a way how a picture inspired a joke. Again, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes, just that looks better to me right there. You know, sometimes you come up with a story before you come up with the jokes or the characters. So maybe you said, hey, you know what? I'm going to do a story, and let's switch over here. And I like the idea of a dog. I love drawing animals. I love, you know, as a pet, I prefer cats to dogs. That's just my personal preference. Each their own. I love dogs too, but I love cats. So maybe I'll choose a cat over a dog, because there's more stories I can do about cats. Kind of, you know, there's the stereotype that cats can be annoying and all they do is sleep and they knock stuff over and they could be mean and whatever, and they come across as very lazy animals because of that, but they also come across as being rude and you know, self-absorbed. So, you know, I could do a cat story about that. The reason I wanted to go with a dog, and I may actually change it and keep it as a dog, is because there's the idea dogs are loyal. Dogs will follow you around. They'll do anything for you. They love you. So the idea of having a story about a kid and his dog, and I'm going to do a boy, and this is, actually, you know what? I'm going to delete this. I want to change the color just because I like to trace over in black when I'm ready. So first off, what I want to do is come up with the idea for the kid. And we want to keep it simple. We want to keep the kid cute, which is why I puffed out his cheek over here, and I've told you about that a bunch of times. So we got to think about an age. How old is he going to be? I think I want to make him like a real little kid, like maybe 6, 7, 8, like that age. So I may not even give him a neck right now. And I'm just going to give him a cute little body like so, and some short legs with his feet. Okay, I'll have his arm coming down here. And I'll give him a wave. His hand is out like this right now. Just to keep it easy, it shows a little motion. And because he's a kid, he's going to have probably bigger ears, because your ears, you know, and features have to grow into. So ears are usually kind of big. Depend on the eyes. I'm going to keep them like this. Mike 25, what's up? I'm going to give him a little nose, so I'm going to kind of do like that. I'm going to give him a big smile. And I want to give him messy hair now. Why messy hair? Because he's a kid, and he's always out playing and running around. And so I'm just going to mess up his hair, give him a mop of hair. And let's erase right here. I also want to think about how to clothe him. While he's a little kid, you don't want to give him, you know, you don't want to put him in a suit or anything like that. So I'm just going to draw a little U line here to show he's got a collar on his t-shirt. And I'll give him some sleeves. And I'll do that. Now, traditionally, comic strips were originally black and white. There wasn't much color in them. So we had to create what we call contrast, the balance between the black and white in the characters. So I still think in that way sometimes. So I could color in his hair, make that black. A lot of times I color in the pants black. Maybe even the shoes. I haven't decided on that yet, so I'm going to leave them blank. And maybe I'll put a stripe or something on his shirt. And if I put a stripe right here, I don't want it to be, if I put it on the sleeves, I don't want it to be right next to it so it looks like one stripe. I raised the stripe on the sleeves a bit. So I got this nice, you know, kind of cute, happy kid here. And let's just move him over. Okay. And the idea is I want him to have a pet dog. Somebody who's going to look like he's loyal. Somebody who looks like he's your, you know, your best friend. Right? So let's do, I think I'm going to make him kind of goofy too. So let's give him a big nose and a big goofy smile, right? And I'm going to give him big eyes. I'm going to have his tongue hanging out, right? There's his chin. I'm going to give him big floppy ears. And one of the things I like about what I'm doing right now is I'm making him kind of like a giant dog so that there's a comparison to the kid. And, you know, the kid is, you know, he's small, but the dog is big. Doesn't look like they'd fit together. And I'm going to give him a big body. He's sitting down right now. Looks kind of like a rabbit, so I'm going to scratch that. All right. Let's redraw that dog. Let's start. I'm going to just start with the shape of the head the way I want it to be. I'm going to do it this way. He's going to be a little bit. Now, one of the things when you're drawing a dog or any animal, look at references. There's different breeds to dogs, you know? So I'm kind of just drawing a generic dog right now. But it can be, you know, specific, like a Great Dane or a Collie or whatever, you know? And maybe I won't give him such floppy ears. I mean, they'll be floppy, but they're not going to be really long, you know? And I'll give him some messy hair a little to match that up. I'm going to give him his collar. I'm going to make him kind of chubby, kind of a fat dog, right? Now, because he's a heavier dog, maybe he doesn't run as fast. Maybe he's could be a little lazy, but he looks like he's a hyper dog, and just the expression. But it could just be because he loves his owner so much, is the boy. It's and what I could do that's different, that would make this strip different from what's out there, is maybe I can tell it from the dog's point of view. So maybe instead of it, maybe I'll call the strip, this is just an idea, maybe I'll call it a dog and his, whoops, that's a terrible S there, his boy. So it's not told by the boy's point of view. It's told by the dog's point of view. Maybe to add some interest, I'll put a couple of spots on the dog, something like that. Maybe even instead of perfect circles, create like a weird shape. Like that could be like I don't know, like a sideways heart. Do something like that. A couple of lines here to show that he's wagging because he's happy. All right, and then we'd have to name these. And naming, to me, is always difficult. It's rare that a name pops up for me. You could always do simple names like Billy and Zach and George and Peter and things like that are very common names because they're easy to remember. I like short names because when you're writing comics, you don't want them to be long. So let's call the boy, let's call him maybe Jimmy. Why isn't it writing? Oh, I'm on the eraser. There we go. So we'll call him Jimmy for now. And the dog we can call, I don't know. Right now I'm thinking Sir barks a lot. I don't know why. But that'd be great if it was a medieval story. How about, I'm just looking around my room for ideas. How about I'm thinking Pee-wee right now, or Tiny, because he's a large dog. That sometimes doing the opposite is funny. So let's just go with, I don't know how to spell Pee-wee properly, so I'm going to go P-E, is it W? Let me look it up. Sorry, guys, that's just how I am here. It's 2 E's. Okay, so it's Pee-wee and Jimmy. I don't know if I like the sound of that. I might change the one of their names later to have a nice flow to it. Pee-wee. Okay. So now, what could the story be? What can Jimmy and Pee-wee do, or Pee-wee and Pee-wee and Jimmy. So let's think, what could a story be about these characters? So it's a boy and his dog. So we know we got Pee-wee and Jimmy. Here are the characters. What can they do? What do boys and dogs do? Well, you know, they play fetch, right? They go for walks. They can... Oh, can they play video games together? Maybe. Like, the idea that I want to do with this story here is that the dog and Jimmy, Pee-wee and Jimmy, are best friends. So they do everything together. And so, like, playing fetch is something dogs do. They go for walks, right? You take them out for walks. So, but Jimmy may like to play video games, right? Maybe he likes to read comics, you know? So what I'm doing here is I'm thinking, what is the life of a little kid? You know, whatever age. So let's say let's just make him, I'm going to make Jimmy 8 years old. And the reason I'm doing that is because he's still young enough to have like really crazy imaginative adventures, but he's not old enough where he needs to be a little more serious of a character. He can still be imaginative and fun and a little crazy. And he could all still be asking questions because he doesn't know a lot about the world yet. So we got these things. So it could be, ask questions. All right. So these are things. I'm going to make a list, and I'll add more to my list of what little kids do, what dogs can do, and how do I put them in together. All right. Maybe there's a treehouse location that, you know, they have. How do you get a dog up a tree? Put a question mark. What about if there was like Cub Scouts? I don't know if people do that these days. What about, well, we'll put school because Jimmy has to go to school. What about, you know, just going out to dinner? Maybe Pee-wee can't always come. You know, vacations. So I'm just making a list of things right now that I could think about what kind of stories I could tell. And that's what I'm going to do right now is think of a story that I could do for the very first strip. And what I like to do, whoops, I don't want to close that one out. And move these up. What I like to do is create just a very long rectangle because comic strips are vertical. The other thing you could do, and I'll show you here, is take a sheet of paper like so and fold it in half. And then fold it in half again. So it looks like that. Open it up, and now you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you want to hold it this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you have 4 panels that you can use, and maybe you want to use 3. Doesn't matter. So what I then do is I kind of break it up into panels and see how many I need. Maybe I'll do a 4-panel joke. Maybe it'll be 3. I don't know. It doesn't even have to be funny right now. It's just, it could be something to introduce. So maybe it's, you know, it's them walking down the street, and he's looking up at him, and he's got this big smile on, and there's his tongue, and he's walking too. And right now this is just a sketch. I don't need to put in the fine details. It could be just them walking. Maybe we change the camera angle a little bit. And now here's Pee-wee, and he's looking up as they walk, right? Okay, and maybe they're looking at each other. So I'll put the eyes in to know that they're looking up at each other. Actually, I'm thinking of a funnier joke right now. I'm sorry, let me erase this. This, I think, is even funnier than what I was going to do. And it doesn't matter right now. Write down your idea for your... Write down your idea so you don't forget them. Even if they're bad, just, you can always go back and look at them again. So maybe we got Jimmy right here, and he's playing a video game, so the TV's right there. And I'd move him back, and here's the dog sleeping, and all of a sudden, maybe his tongue's out because he's really into it. And then all of a sudden, he gets this like, uh-oh. And his mop of hair. And then you see him, maybe here's a staircase. And he's running up the stairs. And we'll have the dog right here. Okay, and maybe he says, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom. Now, one of the things I like to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. I have 11 words there. Perfect. I don't want to go over 20 words per panel. It's just a rule I have. It's something I was taught. And maybe here, it says something like, Pee-wee saying something like, I love that, he is house trained. So instead of the dog being house trained, or maybe he is, he says it. And that's a joke. Is it a very good one? I don't know. That's for you to decide. If I like it, I'll use it. Now I could do this in one panel too, where I turn this here. Do I have room down here to do it? Yes. Where I turn this into oh, I am so sorry. You guys have been looking at me drawing, and I forgot to turn in. I feel terrible right now. I'm going nuts right now. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. But there's the drawing, and I could turn this into a single panel where the dog is over here resting, and he's looking at the audience. And then we can have the staircase right here, maybe the TV's here, maybe a couch, just to show that there's a living room of some sort. And there he's running. I completely apologize that for that whole thing, you did not see me draw. I can't believe I didn't switch it over. I still hope you guys got a good understanding of what I just did here. But again, if you don't want to fold the paper, just draw out a box, divide it up into how many panels you want, 3, 4. If you're doing 3, it's easier to divide them up usually. Now, traditionally, cartoonists have always worked at certain sizes. And on a piece of paper, it's usually 4 inches by 13 inches overall. Charles Schulz, if I remember correctly, did Peanuts. He used to work at 5.5. I think it's 5.5 by like 20 or 19. He used to draw very large. But what I've done, and I'll check my website, and we can check my website. Check it right now. See if I put it up here. Otherwise, I'll put it up as soon as we end. Sorry, it's taking a moment. Yes, so let me share this right here so you can see. Stop the share of that screen. Let's share another screen. I don't know what this one is here. Let's see. Oh, yep, that is what I want you to see, I believe. What's this? Let me see. Screen 2 is what? Nope, screen 1. So I'm going to allow that. And we're going to go to the free stuff. Is that what you're seeing, I hope? If you go to getintoon.net, and then on the getintoon.net, you go over to free stuff. So when you log on to the site, it should be my blog that comes up, which has some of my drawing videos on here and some things that I've written. All right. Let me just make it easier here. Let me just see this real quick. I just want to make sure I'm looking at what you guys are seeing here. Yep, you're seeing it. Okay. So, by the way, if you go to videos, all the videos that I've done on YouTube here are on here. If you click on the side where the playlist is, you can get any of the videos that I've already done. But if you go here to free stuff and you right click and go to, or just, we can probably, you can click on it, it'd be easier, and then download this. Now it's going to take a few minutes, but now you should be able to save page as, or just drag it if you're on a Mac straight to the desktop. This right here is based on traditional drawing comic book sizes. Okay, so what you're seeing here is, if this was like, say, the 4x13, and I reduced it down to fit on a printable 8.5 by 11 paper, this is how big 3 panels should be, and this is how big 4 panels should be. So it gives you options, and you could download and print as much of this up as you want. You know, I give this away for free all the time. It's a great way to learn. Try doing a joke in a 3 or 4 panel. Write down some ideas. Next time I'll show you how to use that, you know, how to use that properly. So that's it for today. I hope you guys learned a little bit about comics. Again, I apologize for not sharing my screen. I can't believe I did that. But you guys have seen the comic strip pages again. I'll just put it up here so you guys can see. So what I did was I created my characters. I thought about a story. I wrote down, well, and the way to come up with ideas is I wrote down things that kids would do and dogs would do. And then I started drawing out panels. And again, if you want to fold paper, you can do it that way. If you want to use my handout that you could download from my site, you can do that too. But thanks for joining me, for everyone who did, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great day. Bye.